Picture this. It's 1971. You're settling in for your favorite sitcom, and then nothing. No finale, no goodbye, just gone. Today we're counting down 15 shows that vanish faster than your dad when it's time to do dishes. Some had been on air for nearly 2 decades. Others were ratings juggernauts. But CBS and other networks decided they were done with rural America, done with variety shows. And honestly, they didn't even bother to explain why. Number 15, The Mary Tyler Moore Show. Now, Mary actually made it to 1977, but hear me out. This show launched in 1970, right as the networks were torching everything that smelled like hay bales and banjos. And while Mary survived the purge, CBS basically left her on life support in those early years. No massive promotional pushes, no prime scheduling love. They kept her around, sure, but it was like keeping a houseplant you forgot to water. The show quietly phased out its early momentum until it finally ended. Not with a bang, but with a, well, I guess we're done here. Could have been so much bigger, if they'd actually cared. Number 14, The New Andy Griffith Show. Speaking of shows nobody cared about, Andy Griffith tried to recapture the magic in 1971 with this follow-up, and it lasted about as long as a mayfly. 1 season, gone. Not even a proper cancellation notice, just silence. Andy played a small-town mayor this time because apparently playing a small-town sheriff wasn't niche enough. CBS pulled the plug so fast you'd think the show personally insulted the network president's mother. And just like that, Andy's comeback was over before it started. Number 13, The Glenn Campbell Good Time Hour.
Glenn Campbell is moving to Tuesday nights at 7:30.
Glenn Campbell had one of the smoothest voices in country music, but apparently that wasn't enough to save his variety show. It ran from 1969 to 1972, right in the crosshairs of CBS's We Hate Anything Vaguely Rural campaign. And look, I get it. Variety shows were falling out of favor, but this one still had viewers. Glenn was charming, but nope. CBS looked at a guy who could sing, play guitar, and host with actual charisma and said, we're good. Canceled. No farewell special. Glenn just packed up his guitar and left. Number 12, The Lawrence Welk Show.
The Lawrence Welk Show!
If you've never heard of Lawrence Welk, imagine the least threatening man alive leading a band while bubbles floated around the set. That was the whole vibe. This show ran from 1955 to 1971, 16 years on ABC, and it was a Saturday night institution for millions of Americans who liked their entertainment wholesome and their music polka adjacent. But in 1971, ABC decided they wanted to be cool and dropped Lawrence like he was a bad habit. No finale, no tribute, just thanks for the bubbles, see ya. The show actually continued in syndication for another decade, because apparently Lawrence Welk was unkillable, but his network days, done. Alright, if you're loving this trip down memory lane, or if you're just horrified that your favorite childhood show got ghosted by a TV network, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. Trust me, there's way more chaos coming. Number 11, The Jim Nabors Hour.
Siamo qui, no.
Jim Nabors, a.k.a. Gomer Pyle, had a variety show from 1969 to 1971, and it was exactly what you'd expect. Wholesome, fun, and doomed. CBS axed it during the rural purge even though Jim was still pulling decent numbers. The network basically said, "We know you're talented and people like you, but you remind us of the South and we're trying to rebrand." Brutal. Jim never got to say goodbye to his audience. One week he was there, the next week he was gone. Probably wondering what he did to deserve that. Number 10, The Odd Couple. Okay, so The Odd Couple technically lasted until 1975 on ABC, but its cancellation was still weirdly abrupt. This show was based on a Broadway play, had 2 charismatic leads in Tony Randall and Jack Klugman, and had solid ratings for most of its run. But ABC just stopped caring. No big farewell episode, no reunion movie, Just a quiet end to a show that deserved better. Tony and Jack were out there acting their hearts out, and the network treated their finale like a dentist appointment nobody wanted to remember. Number 9, Here's Lucy.
Here's Lucy.
Lucille Ball, actual legend, sitcom royalty, and yet, when Here's Lucy ended in 1974, CBS barely acknowledged it. This was her third sitcom, following I Love Lucy and The Lucy Show, and it ran for 6 years. 6 years! But there was no big event, no farewell special, nothing. Lucy just stopped showing up. For someone who basically invented the TV sitcom, you'd think CBS would have thrown her a parade. But nope, they were too busy chasing younger demographics to care that they were ghosting one of the greatest comedians of all time. Number 8, The Virginian. The Virginian was a Western that ran on NBC from 1962 to 1971, making it one of the longest-running Westerns in TV history. But in 1971, Westerns were about as cool as your dad's record collection, so NBC pulled the plug. No fanfare, no final shootout, just a quiet ride into the sunset. This show had 249 episodes, almost a decade of content, and NBC couldn't even be bothered to give it a proper ending. They just moved on to the next thing and pretended The Virginian never existed. Number 7, The Red Skelton Show.
Company is coming tonight.
Red Skelton's variety show ran from 1953 to 1970, which is 17 years, by the way. 17 years of sketches, characters, and slapstick comedy that millions of people loved. But CBS decided Red was too old-fashioned, too vaudeville, too Red. So in 1970, they canceled him. No goodbye episode, no tribute. Red was reportedly devastated, and honestly, who could blame him? He gave CBS nearly 2 decades of content, and they repaid him by pretending he never existed. Number 6, Lassie. Yes, even Lassie got the axe. The show about a heroic collie ran on CBS from 1954 to 1971. That's 17 years of a dog being more competent than most humans. But in 1971, CBS decided they were done with wholesome family programming and dropped Lassie from prime time. No farewell, no final rescue. Lassie just stopped saving people and wandered off into the sunset. The show continued in syndication, but CBS basically said, "We're too sophisticated for a dog now," which is the most CBS thing ever. All right, we're 2/3 of the way through, and if you're thinking, wow, TV networks in the 70s were cold-blooded, you're absolutely right. Hit that like button if you're starting to feel personally attacked on behalf of these shows. Number 5, Hogan's Heroes. A sitcom about American POWs outsmarting Nazis during World War II sounds insane by today's standards, but Hogan's Heroes ran from 1965 to 1971, and people loved it. But CBS canceled it in 1971 with zero ceremony. No final escape plan, no wrap-up, just gone. Bob Crane and the cast were left hanging, and fans never got closure. It's wild that a show about literal prisoners got imprisoned by its own network's indifference. Number 4, Family Affair. Family Affair ran from 1966 to 1971 and was a cozy show about a bachelor raising his orphan nieces and nephew with the help of a butler. It was sweet, it was popular, and CBS axed it in 1971 anyway. No explanation, no finale. The characters just stopped existing. Brian Keith and the cast didn't even get to say goodbye to viewers. CBS looked at a show about family and decided they didn't care anymore. That's some poetic irony right there. Number 3, Mayberry RFD. This was the direct continuation of the Andy Griffith Show, picking up right where Andy left off in Mayberry. It ran from 1968 to 1971 and was still getting solid ratings, but CBS said, "Nah, we're done with small towns," and canceled it abruptly. No farewell to Mayberry. No final town meeting, just nothing. Fans who'd been watching Mayberry since 1960 suddenly lost their favorite fictional town overnight. Brutal. Number 2, Green Acres.
Green Acres is the...
Green Acres is where you want to be, except CBS didn't want to be there anymore. This surreal sitcom about a New York lawyer and his glamorous wife moving to a farm ran from 1965 to 1971 and was genuinely hilarious. But it got swept up in the rural purge, and despite 170 episodes, there was no proper finale. Eddie Albert and Ava Gabor were just done. No goodbye, no wrap-up. The show ended mid-storyline, leaving fans wondering what happened to Oliver and Lisa. It's like CBS just decided to ghost the entire state of Iowa. And at number 1, The Beverly Hillbillies.
The Beverly Hillbillies.
And here we are, the big one. The Beverly Hillbillies ran from 1962 to 1971 and was a cultural phenomenon. At its peak, it was the number 1 show in America. Jed, Granny, Ellie Mae, and Jethro were household names. The show basically printed money for CBS. And in spring of 1971, CBS just canceled it. No finale, no send-off, no thank you. The Clampetts were evicted from Beverly Hills without warning, and viewers were left with nothing but confusion. This wasn't just a cancellation, it was a betrayal. CBS called it the rural purge, but honestly, it was more like a rural massacre. So there you have it. 15 shows had vanished like socks at a dryer, leaving fans confused and networks unapologetic. The 1970s were a wild time when TV executives decided overnight that rural America was out and urban sophistication was in, and they didn't care who they hurt in the process. If this video made you nostalgic or angry, leave a comment about which cancellation offended you the most. And if you want more TV history chaos, subscribe, because trust me, there's plenty more where this came from. Thanks for watching, and remember, your favorite show could disappear tomorrow, and the network won't even bother to tell you why.